Come along, children. Now we're going to have a little music.
What's good, y'all? It's your boy RB3 here for another review for First Cut. I'm gonna keep this one pretty quick. It's just me solo doing this. Here to do a review for Top Gun Maverick, the highly anticipated sequel to Top Gun, which was the star-making movie for Tom Cruise that came out in the 1980s. Obviously about planes, navies, all that. The original was directed by the late great Tony Scott, and this new one is directed by Joseph Kosinski. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, sir. He directed another great legacy sequel, Tron Legacy. So these are, you know, he has a reputation. He also worked with Tom Cruise on Oblivion, so he has a reputation for, you know, going for these 80s sequels, bringing them to modern life with Tron Legacy, but also working with Tom Cruise. So this was an exciting pairing. Now, I personally have no attachment to the original Top Gun. I don't really have an attachment to a lot of like 80s action movies, honestly. In fact, I would almost say I have like a negative attraction to them, because I honestly personally think a lot of them are cheesy, corny. I don't really enjoy a lot of them personally. So especially and intently the original Top Gun, I only really saw it one time in middle school. So going into this one, I had like no expectations. But when I saw it getting a 97% Rotten Tomatoes, when I saw Tom Cruise getting an honorary Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival, and I see it getting all this acclaim, I think, okay, they must have really elevated this to a point where it must be spectacular, it must be mind-blowing, it must be epic. So even though I didn't really have high expectations for it, I did think, you know, this must be pretty mind-blowing if the critics are saying it's mind-blowing. The Cannes Film Festival loved it and premiered it and gave Tom Cruise this recognition. So I went in with pretty high hopes. The real comparable movie that I really thought of it to was Mad Max Fury Road, another long gap legacy sequel that came, you know, last time was in the 1990s. The new one came in 2015. And, you know, for me personally, blew me out the water. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. So I was kind of almost ready to put Top Gun Maverick on that level walking into it. When I actually ended up getting a pretty standard, all right sequel to a movie. I ended up getting a pretty all right sequel. This is Top Gun Maverick is a cool movie. I have no hate towards it. There's nothing wrong with it. Everything is fine about it. The acting is cool. Everything is cool. Like, everything about this movie is cool. I think I can't, you know, and saying that it's cool, you know, I tweeted this weekend that I called it Top Gun midriff. I do think it was kind of overly hyped. I do think it was very overrated. I think a 97% is massively kind of going overboard with it. And why do I think that? I just think, you know, it's a fine storyline. It's just massively predictable. And while the action beats are cool in their own right, and seeing the plane sequences and aerial sequences and the way they shot them, cinematography-wise, was really mind-blowing, especially in the IMAX format with the surround sound. It really was breathtaking and exciting. It was predictable. Every beat was predictable. You were calling it for plot point. The reason you could call those action beats are because they almost derive directly from one movie, which is Star Wars A New Hope, episode 4. It literally does the, no spoilers. I mean, I don't want to totally spoil it, but the final action sequence that they're building up to is literally the Luke trench run that we see in episode 4. So it's like, okay, we already know where this is going to go. We already know like how this is going to end up. And then all the quote unquote surprises that they think they're throwing at us really aren't that surprising, because I was calling them within like 5 seconds. I almost got to a point where for the third act, I felt like I was writing the movie like live as I was watching it. So, certain characters come in at the very last second, you know, who were bullies and early on in the movie, and then they end up coming in and saving the day. Somebody crashes a plane and you think they're dead for like 2 seconds, but they're really not. It's literally every single plot point. The flight program is about to get shut down, and the only way to save it is for their top flight dude, which is Tom Cruise, to get in the plane and show them how to do the route. Like, it's literally all plot point by plot point things I was calling like live in the moment. So the predictability of the plot and the simpleness of it really kind of just really takes it down to like, you know, I'm just watching a basic movie. Like, it almost feels like a TV movie. And again, if you're in for the spectacle, if you're in for a big screen experience, the action is there. Like, you're there for a good action, solid, you know, plane movie. This is definitely there for you. If you're there for some emotional story, it's not it. Okay, but when you put the action aside, everybody is commending the movie for the emotional through line, how strong it is emotionally. And I just don't have that connection. For me, you know, a lot of the emotional through line, or a lot of the emotional heart in the film, comes from Tom Cruise's Maverick, his relationship with Goose's son. I believe his name is Rooster, played by Miles Teller in this new film. Rooster has kind of a grudge against Maverick because Maverick has kind of pulled his application from the Navy Academy multiple times. I guess it set his career back about like 4 years. So throughout the movie, and when Rooster gets picked up to be put on this new Top Gun mission, you know, it kind of ends up being like a rift between them. Now, for me personally, as a black man in America, when we're talking about opportunities being taken away from us, when we talk about college admissions, we talk about, you know, not being given the same opportunities that we deserve. Hearing all of this come from, you know, the voice of Miles Teller, kind of crying about not getting a nepotism experience, about not getting some sort of fulfilling thing that he thinks he deserves, not getting some Navy military fulfillment that he thinks he deserves on the back of his father. Because throughout the movie, he proves that he's not really that good of a pilot. Like, he proves that he maybe shouldn't be in the position that he is. But literally, just because of who his daddy is, that's where he gets. So I literally, you know, as somebody who went to USC, as somebody who went to a predominantly white institution, and as somebody who faces constant racial, you know, discrimination / uphill battles against these kinds of things. Yeah, I had negative attachment towards this movie. In fact, when all of those scenes of them crying and yapping about, I didn't make it, you didn't give me the same opportunity, all I was hearing was blah, 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 blah. So I literally get an hour and a half of blah, 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 blah nonsense when it comes to the story beats, 45 minutes of predictable plane action sequences. And what does that leave me to? A mid movie that I don't care about, a mid movie that I don't know why most of America cares about. Actually, I do know why most of America cares about, because it touches on the classic military propaganda, the tugging on the heartstrings, the classic American exceptionalism that we've all come to used to. And that's just not what I'm here for. I don't support that. I don't support, you know, I don't support wars. I don't support, you know, I'll just say I don't support the military. I support veterans. I support people who have served. I support getting people who have served and have protect this country rights. I think it's a crying shame that a disproportionate amount of homeless are veterans. I think it's a crying shame that a lot of veterans don't have access to easy mental health facilities. And I, you know, support that they were released in this movie on Memorial Day. But no, I don't support, you know, Navy interaction. I don't support the military industrial complex. I don't support building new planes and new military technology for the sake of bombing nameless country and nameless faces. Now, in this movie, there was a motivation for why they had to bomb the country or bomb the places they were bombing, because they're developing some sort of weapons. But that's always going to be the goal post-moving justification that the military / military industrial complex is going to keep putting on us. And the more that we represent that in movies, is the more we're going to keep perpetuating this like military propaganda myth. You know, it's ain't my cup of tea, and I'm sorry to say it, y'all. It's mid. I think it's cool, but I definitely would not even consider watching this movie again. I'm sorry. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the movie. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I know a lot of people have a big nostalgia factor when it comes to liking this movie. And, you know, a lot of people take a lot of personal connection to the storyline of like Miles Teller's Rooster and, you know, Tom Cruise in this. You know, if you connect to that, let me know in the comments down below. I'm sorry if my rant offended you. I'm just saying I have negative connection to it as a nostalgia piece, and I have negative connection to it as somebody who has to fight white privilege every day in my life. So that's my thoughts on Top Gun Maverick. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Subscribe to First Cut, or unsubscribe if you're offended. With that being said, peace out. Peace.